Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Great to have all you guys here. Got a very special guest with us today. He's a busy man. He's a crypto OG, not even from HEX, but even before. You might recognize him before, but he's or maybe a former crypto journalist. Now he's just rich and retired, I believe. But yeah, this is Randy Hilarski, everybody. And we're going to talk about his history, what he's done for the crypto space, and what does he really think about PulseChain and HEX, because the answer may shock you. Okay, Randy, want to tell them who you are?
Hey guys, first of all, can you see us? Because let me make sure that there we go.
Welcome, everybody.
Yeah, I had to check on it. For some reason, I'm a little bit pixelated. Do I look pixelated to you?
You're a little pixelated, yeah.
That's weird. All right, but yeah. So my name is Randy Hilarski. I've been around since 2014 in the crypto space. Going back earlier than that, I was gold and silver. I've been in precious metals forever. 2006 when I got into that game, and just absolutely loved it. Fell in love with having things outside the Federal Reserve System, and I started writing articles and doing social media posts and things like that, promoting gold and silver, promoting Dr. Ron Paul as a libertarian. And I came down to Panama, and the guys thought I was doing so good. The company I was with is a gold and silver company. They said, "Hey, can you manage all of our companies and do our marketing for us, as well as write articles and all this kind of stuff?" So I started writing articles about gold and silver and expatriating and expat living, and talking about Panama and things like that. So that went very successful for me because it gave me some inroads into the journalist space. And when their company fell apart, I had a chat with my friend Peter Spina from goldseek.com. You guys might know Goldseek especially if you're in the precious metal space. And Peter hired me right off the bat, and paid our bills for the next 2 years while I perfected my craft. And then in 2014, that was the beginning of my Bitcoin days. I bought Bitcoin at 400 and I think it was 480, 450, right in that range, in January of 2014, and proceeded to get screwed by the bear market. And but Crypto Coffee, I was in it for the technology. I was one of those early guys who was really in it for the technology and the Fed. That was my whole shtick, right? So,
well, that's what this is all really about. It's both the tech and the money, right? The get rich quick scheme is a nice way to disguise a global fiat cryptocurrency revolution, right? Like we're not going to overthrow the banks if they see it coming from a mile away. So what they say is basically it's like a grassroots digital revolution disguised as an internet Ponzi scheme. And I think that's a great way to put it, because the people that don't get it, they're the ones in power right now. And they're probably going to be too late by the time they come around. If you're not positioning yourself right now in the next probably 5 years before real hardcore regulations come in and central bank digital currencies and all that stuff, I think you're going to be too late. And I think the opportunity is going to be gone. So you're in the right place at the right time. I know it's kind of cliche to say, but we really are still early. We might not be early in terms of Bitcoin, but we are still early in terms of the whole entire space and where it's going. So you got in as a gold bug or a heavy metals guy. That's interesting. It must have been hard trying to convince all those guys that crypto is the future.
Well, it's not as hard as you think, because remember, Trace Mayer. Trace Mayer is a good friend of mine, or was back in the day, but he just went ghost. He's gone now. I don't know where he went to.
I saw him at a Bitcoin conference in 2017, and he was trying to shill a privacy coin, which I didn't mind, but people were very offended for some reason. And then I literally never saw or heard anything from him again. So
yeah, he disappeared.
Just another one of those guys that the toxic Bitcoin community shunned, and it's a shame because he was a really smart libertarian dude, and he was in it for the right reasons, and he was very well spoken.
Yeah, and I had great conversations with him at both the crypto conferences I went to here in Latin America. Trace came, and I got to spend hours with him, and having lunch. And one time we had a huge cookout in Argentina, and him and I just had a wonderful conversation throughout the whole day. And he was a genuine person who wanted to take down the Fed, and I just love that about him, and just learned from him. And then Steemit launched, and him and I were writing on Steemit, as well as Charlie Shrem.
I've got a few articles on Steemit as well. For those that don't know, that was an attempt at a decentralized, kind of like Reddit, but not really. It was more like you would write an article, and then the comment section of the article was sort of like Reddit, and you could get paid for writing articles.
Paid for comments too.
Yeah. It worked out really well for like the group of maybe a couple hundred or thousand guys that began.
Yeah.
But everyone that came afterwards, I don't think they were ever able to make much money.
2 years later, $250,000 later, just writing blog posts. It was great. I mean, my wife, she wouldn't write too much. She would just take photos and make memes and things like that. And she get uploaded, make $150, that kind of a thing. So yeah, I was doing the crypto journalism thing, and then Steemit happened. And I was like, whoa, what is this? And I remember my first post I made, I think it was $5,500, something like that. My very first post, because I knew Dan Larimer and those guys voted me up. Right.
Yeah.
and because I was the social media guy for Dollar Vigilante. And so Jeff was the first big non-Steemit person that was promoting the project. And then Jeff was voting me up, and everyone was voting me up. So we all helped each other out. And then Trace came along, and Charlie Shrem, and all these guys.
Big names. I think a lot of new guys, they don't really realize how big some of these names that you're dropping are. So like Charlie Shrem created the very first ever peer-to-peer Bitcoin exchange.
Yes, he did.
Got busted for it. Unfortunately, he was made an example of, but he's not in jail for 7 life sentences. He didn't get a Ross Albright, but he did get a firm slap on the wrist. He's out of jail, but he's doing well. But I don't think he's really too much back into crypto. Dan Larimer, notorious for hopping around from project to project, leaving them half baked, but making a shit ton of money in the process. I'm sure he's a great guy.
And he used to speak with Satoshi. He was one of the guys who used to interact with Satoshi on Reddit or in the Bitcoin page, whatever it was.
Yeah, Bitcoin Talk forums.
The Bitcoin Talk. Yeah, he's
let's not discount that. I didn't even know that. That's pretty cool. And then Dollar Vigilante. He's into he can be a little doom and gloomy on the internet if you follow him. He's a YouTuber. He's popular with people that are kind of like in the prepper community, or he's really into privacy coins and some of the basic things I agree with, right? Like privacy is a human right, but he promotes things like Monero, or more recently a coin called RARRR, like some pirate coin,
pirate chain.
Yeah. And he even, I think some of his guys even got into Bitcoin SV, unfortunately. But
Raphael, if Raphael's listening, Raphael, fuck off, man, with that BSV shit. Seriously. Man. I was really disappointed when I saw that.
That's a tough one to drink the Kool-Aid on. And I don't mean to shit talk anybody, but if you're in BSV, you might need to reassess whether or not you're really in a cult or not, because like this guy is like very clearly goes around and cosplays as Satoshi, has been caught lying several times. And just the character of the founder doesn't seem to be there. And then when you say, oh, well, just look at the functionality of the coin, it's like, well, I don't know. I think a lot of other coins do the same thing.
Yeah,
if not more,
including Bitcoin.
Yeah,
Bitcoin Cash. I mean, seriously, they're all. That's all they do. It's just a weak currency. That's all. And maybe they say Bitcoin's a store of value. Okay, it's a weak narrative, but it's a narrative.
So without going after any community, obviously, other than BSV, you've been around for such a long time that you've like dipped your feet into a lot of different communities. What was the difference? I want to kind of get your perspective as you were coming up. I know you were you hit it big with Steemit and a lot of other mainstream cryptocurrency platforms, writing articles about everything under the sun from at least 2 cycles, maybe even 2.5.
Yeah, about 2.5 cycles. My big ones I'm noted for are Zen Cash, which now is Horizon. I was on the launch team for that,
which is actually on Grayscale right now, right?
Yeah. And I was part of obviously Steemit. I was on the team for a year. I took over their social media for them because they did not know what they were doing when it came to social media. So
ironic.
Yeah, exactly. Annabelle and I did that until I had them automated and with the articles until one day a post went out. It was a porn post, went out into the Steemit Twitter. And someone had figured out which tags I was using to get the automation going, and they got me in trouble. So the team's like, "What the fuck, Randy? What's going on?" I'm like, "Oh, sorry, I haven't automated. They just figured out my what I was doing." So, yeah, that stunk. But we lasted a year there. We had a great time. So, whatever. What's another one? Well, obviously, promoting HEX for free. Let's talk about that. I don't want to go too much in the other projects, but
I want to get into like the transition point of when you were in the broader crypto sphere to when you really transitioned and honed in on HEX. So how did that happen?
Well, I was in Crypto Daily. I was working for free. I'd never made a dime with Crypto Daily. When Steemit started going down, I was contacted by Crypto Daily UK, which is a Google News crypto website. And they said, hey, Randy, would you like to write for us? And I can't remember who introduced me to the founder. It was somebody in the crypto space. They needed writers, and they're like, hey, Randy, you want to write for them? And I'm like, well, is it a Google News website? Meaning every time an article is posted, does it go into Google News? And they said, yes. I said, you know what? I have experience with this because I used to write for wrote for GoldSeek for over 2 years. And I loved my articles going on Google News because you get tons of views. Really, seriously, it's great. It's just a gold mine. And so let's do it.
I want to pause right there. Google News, for anybody that might be watching, is a largely untapped territory for HEX content as well. So something to consider. But anyway, go on.
We as a community could probably buy our own Google News website and just change it to HEX News or Crypto News or our own Crypto News, PulseChain News, something like that. Those sites are available, and we just have to, the URL won't be exactly what we want, but we could just market it our own stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost better if it's a Trojan horse and it's just called like Crypto News or whatever. Then
it's all PulseChain News. That would work because you get a couple guys like you and I and a few others that know how to do SEO. Like, who's the guy that writes all the articles on Medium? He's so good.
Taylor Kennedy.
Get someone like him too, who writes really thorough articles. He always says to me, oh, Randy, you're one of my inspirations for writing. I'm like, man, I would sit down and write an article in 20 minutes. I said, but what Taylor would do is he really gets into the information, and the SEO and the articles are fabulous. Whereas mine are lazy. His are just out of control. Amazing. I'm like, dude, you really need to be writing for somebody, getting paid to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And so Google, just anybody out there watching, if you're sitting at home wondering how you can contribute, writing articles and doing SEO the old fashioned way, people still read articles all the time. So don't sleep on Google News, which is something that you basically, you utilize to get like micro famous essentially. Right.
Yeah. The one thing I forgot was Google Plus. That's how I got so big. Google Plus is now defunct. It's gone. But I used to be able to get stuff ranked on the first page of Google just because of Google Plus. So if I wanted to write an article on Steam It, and then I would share it to Google Plus, I would make it go semi-viral because we had between 20 and 40 Google Plus accounts. We'd reshare, and that would rank it on Google really high in the algorithm. So people are like, how the hell are you outranking us, Randy? So like CoinDesk and their articles were ranked below mine because I had higher authority because my articles were getting shared on Google Plus.
What a great life hack, because there were so few people on Google Plus that even 20 to 30 shares was a dominant position.
And I was verified. I was a verified Google Plus user, and I have my verified YouTube. So
How did you get verified on there?
I was sitting in the office one day, and Google Chile, which is their headquarters for South America, just called me up on Google Hangouts. The founder, or not the founder, but the manager of Google Chile called me up, and he just straight up asked me, he goes, Randy, what the hell are you doing? How are you and your wife ranked so high and getting so many followers on Google Plus? I said, because we spend now Matt, get this. We spend about 12 hours per day at Google Plus. That was our life. We were building up a base, and it took us about a year to get there. And once we did, Google called us asking us what we were doing. And we had shared it to them. They're like, hey, would you guys want to get verified? I'm like, yeah, sure. They're like, hey, just send us a copy of your marriage certificate. I'm like, that's a weird thing to ask for, but yeah, sure. So they got us verified, and we've been verified ever since. Waters Above messaged me the other day, asked me how we got verified. He's like, yeah, I want to get verified too. I'm like, man, I did that in 2012.
Yeah. Well, so Google Plus isn't even around anymore, or
No.
But so Google News is still a thing. Is there any similar process of like a verification thing where you can get more notoriety on Google News?
Sure. Google Business. So Google Business is the old Google Plus pages, right? They never got rid of Google Plus 100%. So if you have a business, and I think you can actually still put lots of information on your Google Plus pages. So you could have a crypto coffee page as a business and go put all your links in there. So it's going to help your SEO and your link circles. So I would recommend doing that. It's just if you go to your Gmail or your main account, there's a drop down. It says where you can add all of your links. And that is the old Google Plus. They never got rid of 100% of it. They just got rid of the social media side.
Wow.
So the SEO is still there.
I wonder, can we do that for HEX in general? Like the hex.com page? I mean,
everybody could do it. if every Google Plus user went in, we just uncovered something I never thought about, but every Google Plus user can go into their Google settings, set up a page and for themselves and add all of their links in there. And we could put hex.com as a backlink.
Okay, I'm literally writing on a Post-it note right now because after the stream, I'm gonna go. You said go into Gmail.
Yeah, or go your Google page or
Okay.
your Google profile. That's it. Your profile.
Okay.
That's where it's going to be.
And then, is there like a subset under the Google profile?
Here, let me look it up real quick on my own.
Maybe we can share a screen even. I mean, I don't know if you want to give away.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah,
that's always creepy.
Yeah.
Geez, how can I do it here?
Oh yeah, well, Trevor Hansen. We're talking about search engine optimization. He wants to know what are we even talking about. This is how you rank things like hex.com and PulseChain.com higher by writing articles, or what I do with my titles and my tags and my YouTube videos. Every little thing I do is to optimize the algorithm to get more reach. So this is how we help Hex go viral and PulseChain go viral. And there's little things that everybody can do. So,
exactly. I'm gonna have to look more into this because I can't remember how do I find it. But
well, if you tell me, I'll just tweet it out later. And if it's something that everybody can easily do on their Google profile page, let's break Google, guys.
Yeah, exactly. We just have to all have our own pages, and it just works great. And it connects to your YouTube and all that kind of stuff. And on YouTube as well, there's a way to add links to your YouTube channel, and a lot of people don't utilize that. You know, I don't know why they don't do it. It's just under your profile. Just go in there and add hex.com to your profile. Can't hurt. Right? These are all major backlinks because what Google's the #1 website in the world, YouTube is #2. And just all these backlinks to Hex are just going to help raise it up in the algorithm.
Yeah. I mean, and hex.com is already pretty high. It's doing well, right? It doesn't need the help that it needed in the month 1 or 2 when there was literally scam articles outranking.
Yeah, I was the only one writing positive articles
on
Crypto Daily. You know, I had, I think, a total of 4 articles. I know it was either 3 or 4, but the last one I wrote was the community one, and they were mad. They got purchased by another company, like, oh, you're promoting a scam. We can't let you write it here anymore without verification. They said they had to read my articles and approve them. I'm like, look, I'm not going to spend an hour writing an article, and then you guys tell me you can't use it. I'm not doing that.
For a space that's supposed to be so about censorship resistance, I find the irony is just it's uncanny.
Yeah, and that was Crypto Daily UK. So, you know, they're like, "Oh, Randy, will you help us promote our coin?" No.
Yeah, exactly.
Not promoting your coin.
Yeah, but we've got a question in the chat too. He said maybe off topic, and that's okay. We can bounce around. Me and Randy are kind of ADD brains. Yeah. So, can crypto pump while an economy dumps? Not much concrete to pour these days.
Yeah, I think it totally can, and I think my live stream on Sunday night was about this, how I'm starting to DCA, get back into the market. I think that QE is back on the table, and we're going to see a lot of countries. Yeah, we already saw it in the UK. They're using it. They're buying up their gilt. Their gilt is their bonds, their country bonds. Mm-hmm. They're printing to buy the gilt bonds. So we're starting to see that happen, and I think the U.S. is going to stop with major increases in the borrowing rates. So the 75 basis points that we had last time, the next one might be 1/4 of a basis point or even 0. They might pause it. They might just put on the brakes and say, okay, all right, let's see how this works. We have raised the rates the fastest in history in the last 6 months. And the US didn't even talk about raising rates at the beginning of the year. And all of a sudden we're at what, 4.25% for the year or something like that?
Yeah, we're probably going to end at like 5.5 or so.
Yeah. And so the second the US gets dovish, the things you're going to see do really well first are stocks and crypto, because that's the quickest way for people to get money into the system. And yesterday, my show was on talking about Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur ends today at sundown. So the Jewish community will start putting their money back in the markets too over the next couple weeks. So get ready for that nice little November pump. And we have the elections coming. And they don't like the markets to go down in November.
Right. And there's a general sentiment of a theme called Uptober, which isn't a guarantee, but just seasonality on top of all this. It's kind of the perfect storm for a mini short-term rally. I guess the question is, is that just a relief rally, or is there 6 more months?
Think about it. I mean, the saying on Wall Street forever has been sell Rosh Hashanah, buy Yom Kippur. We have Shemitah year that we just ended.
Yep.
And Shemitah years are pretty pretty nasty typically, and this one was especially nasty. It wasn't just in the markets; it was war, it was rumors of war, inflation. It was so many bad things. When people say, "Oh, Randy Schmid didn't do shit," oh, really? Have you been blind? Really, you've not been paying attention.
Well, it's funny because all you have to do is just look at charts every 7 years, and like there's some giant catastrophic event, pretty much 2001 internet bubble, 2008 housing bubble, 2015. People are like, oh, nothing happened. Oh, actually, China ate total shit in 2015 if you weren't paying attention.
Terrible. I just talked about that last night. It was terrible in China.
Yeah.
And what was the last day of Shemitah this year? The pipelines
September.
got blown up. Pipelines got blown up.
Oh, really?
That was the last day of Shemitah on the day. Let's put an exclamation point on this bitch. It was nuts, man.
Yeah, sometimes it's just like I feel like Earth is just a reality show, and everyone it's just like it's too perfect to be true. Like it's got to be scripted, some of it.
Yeah, screw TA, man. Just go off of cycles. You got Waters Above talks about the moon cycles. You got the new moon and the full moon. Sell on the full moon or prior to the full moon, and buy on the new moon because the prices tend to go up on the new moon. That's just how cycles are everything. And Shemitah's every 7 years, and the Jubilee year, which we're in now, is every 50 years or 49. Well,
so I'm obviously very skeptical, and I do believe cycles happen. And the reasoning for them is very obvious. If you have a large, Johnny Chaos mentioned this the other day, if you have a large portion of the population that holds a lot of economic energy and they all believe one way, well, they actually have influence. So it creates a self-fulfilling prophecy. But on top of that, like even the moon thing, I was one of those guys that was quick to say, oh, that's bullshit. Like, why would anything pump just because of the new moon? There's been studies done that actually show statistical significance to higher levels of volatility in the S&P 500 on new moon and full moon days, which was really shocking to me. And I don't have some esoteric reason why. I just think that if the data shows it, I mean, I can't really disagree. We probably need more than one study, right? But like,
well, take it from a psych nurse, man. Yeah. I did not work full moons. I refused to work full moons, and it wasn't because the other nurses knew what I was talking about. It's just because I have a mom. My mom, my whole life, believed in this stuff, and then when I became a psych nurse, I got to see it up close and personal. I said, you know what? I'm not going to work full moons anymore. I'm going to make sure those days are off.
Wow.
Because it's just nuts, man. I said, look, I'm a big guy. I'm always put in the front. They're like, Randy, go take him down. I'm like, oh, here we go. No more full moons for Randy. So,
wow. I didn't even consider that angle of it.
Look how people act. Look how people drive on full moons. It's just,
I mean, also just look at how people drive in Chicago on a Saturday. You know what I mean? It's not that, sometimes it's hard to parse through the signal versus the noise. I think we're way off topic.
It's okay.
Can crypto pump while an economy dumps? My 2 cents is that I think the housing market is just slower to react because housing is so much more illiquid. So like Randy said earlier, crypto and stocks will probably pump first, and we might even see the housing market continue to decline. Because
for a while,
probably because things that can react quicker, things that are more easier to get in and out of, especially crypto, right? That's probably the easiest, least friction method of speculating. That's probably going to potentially lead the market into a recovery.
Yeah, I remember I was living in Tampa during the crash of 2008 when the stock market and the housing crashed, and it didn't start crashing in 2008. It started crashing in 2006. When I first got to Tampa, it was right at the peak in 2006 of the housing, when people were flipping houses, when strippers had 7 homes and they just signed
the stripper indicator is a real thing. Let's talk about that. When people are not at the strip club, that's when the economy is really in a recession. You know what I mean?
Yes. My brother's ex-girlfriend, she was complaining because she wasn't getting as much money.
Yeah. That's a real thing, man. That's funny.
Yeah. And at the psych unit, when I was working in Tampa, I was working at St. Joseph's. It was really depressing because most of the people that were there were because of the housing crisis.
That's sad, man. And it's hard to be in those environments too, because, it does rub off on you. I mean, they've said even in mental institutions, sometimes some of the workers there start to exhibit schizophrenic tendencies as well.
My mom used to tell me, my mom used to say, Randy, you've worked too many days in a row. Please take a day off.
Well, it's like, I mean, there's actually scientists have speculated that maybe there's some pheromonal thing that is literally transferred through the air that kind of, or some kind of chemical reactions that we just don't quite understand yet. But basically, if you're around people with issues, it's easy to start to develop some yourself.
Yeah, just look at psych nurses that have been doing it for 20 years. They're all nuts.
I mean,
they're all nuts. Sorry if I offend anybody, but I see
yeah,
you. I see you.
Yeah, you'll be okay. Well, we're all gonna make it, guys. Wag me.
Exactly.
Got to chill with the language, fellas, for the channel's sake. What do you mean?
Oh yeah, I'm a sailor. Can't help it, but I'll do my best.
Oh, yes. I guess we'll try to keep it family friendly here. Been wondering who Mr. Hilarski is. Yeah, you kind of heard it already. Journalist in the crypto space for a long time. You were kind of well off before HEX, right?
Yeah, we were doing good. Sorry, I just loaded up on the phone in case people are asking questions. Yeah, I did really good in Ethereum. I did really good with Epic Cash, which was a Mimblewimble coin. I was on the launching team, and that was a interesting experience. And obviously, Steemit really did great for us. That's what changed our life.
Wow.
In the last bull cycle, and Flashcoin did too, because Flashcoin, it was a copy, or a fork of Litecoin, and that one went from hundreds of a penny up to 21 cents at the peak in 2018, beginning of 2018. So that one we did really well, and we were able to put some funds away and get through the bear market. But like many of you, so the market went up. We were millionaires, right?
Yeah.
And then by the end of 2019, towards the end of the bear market, we were back down to 5 figures. And I have no problem talking about that, because that's what crypto does to you. That's normal for crypto.
Same boat. Yeah. Well, I guess I didn't go from 7 to 5. I went from 6 to low 5.
Yeah.
But I still lost 90%.
Yeah, we all did.
Yeah. So, and this cycle, obviously, I've adapted, learned much better. So you're moving along. You're a Steemit OG. You've done a lot of other really cool stuff, but then you see HEX. What made you stop and say, "Hey, I think there's something here to this whole HEX thing"?
Well, for me, nobody introduced me to HEX. It was thank you to the YouTube algorithm. I was just sitting there watching YouTube one day. I tend to spend about an hour and a half day watching crypto videos. And one morning, it was probably October of 2019. I'm sitting there watching my vids, and it recommended a video from Richard Hart. Now, I've known Richard Hart for a while. I knew who he was. I knew him as a Bitcoin maxi because I was acquaintance of Tone Vase. They used to have a show together, and I would watch it once in a while. But Richard, with a top hat and all that, I thought he was like a little bit clownish, and so I kind of just didn't watch many of his things. But then that video came up, and he was at a crypto conference speaking. And I thought that was really something. I listened to it. I'm like, okay, Bitcoin HEX. This is interesting. A store of value. Nobody's done this. Said we need something like this in crypto. I said, you know what? I'm going to go in on this one. And that was it. And I just waited until launch date like everybody else. And it performed very well for me.
The rest is history.
Yeah, and I wrote an article immediately. I think it was the second day of HEX. I put an article up on Crypto Daily, how to claim your Bitcoin using HEX.
I did too. I wrote an article. I have a whole bunch of articles that nobody ever reads on what is that platform? Medium. So if you guys want to check out Crypto Coffee on Medium, I've got PulseChain articles. You can read my OG HEX article about how to, why HEX isn't so bad. Man, that was almost 3 years ago at this point, huh?
Yeah, my medium actually got banned because I was taking my articles that I was posting on Steemit and on Crypto Daily and loading them to Medium, and I got kicked off.
Wow, that's bullshit.
Yeah, like, oh, you can't use the same content from a Google authorized website. You assholes! Come on, man. It's my web. It's mine. It says my name on it. You know?
You wrote it. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff we did that I don't think people realize in the early days just to fight the FUD. And so you're seeing all this FUD around you. And what do you have to say to people, to the common misconceptions or the common misunderstandings that a lot of people point fingers and say, like, oh, HEX, it's too centralized, or Richard Hart's going to dump on your head, or all the other stuff like that?
It never bothered me, because it never bothered me in any other part of my life. So why should it bother me now, where someone has control over something? My landlord controls 100% of this house. Do I worry about that? No. When I go to a hospital, am I worried that there's a couple directors that own all that hospital and they're going to hurt me? Or when you buy a stock and the stock is owned by a couple VCs mostly, Do I worry about that? No, I don't worry about any of this stuff in life. So why should I worry about it in crypto? Richard or the team behind Richard. I've always thought there was a team behind Richard. I'm not one of these people that just thought it was Richard alone. I always thought it was a group, right? They control 90% or 95% or whatever it is. I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, I think it's somewhere around 90. I don't know if it's a team or one person or whatever it is. You know, I would love to say, oh, hey, that all those coins are safely locked up in a trust and they're pledged to never be sold or whatever, but that can't be done because of securities laws and because it's not cypherpunk and it's not crypto, right? But I'm sure like all everybody wants is just a nice little promise because everyone's addicted to their promises. They just want to be told, hey, don't worry, we're not going to dump. We're going to use these funds for good and not evil. But then because there's no promises, it goes contrary to what everybody is so accustomed to. And then they just point fingers and make up these imaginary horror stories about Richard Hart being some terrible, awful guy. I mean,
and the Richard Schuler thing, I think is the most jackass thing around. When they try to hurt Richard by saying his original name.
It's like, bro, do you know Tony Robbins' real name isn't Tony Robbins? You know Tom Cruise is not really Tom Cruise. Like, you know, my name's not Crypto Coffee. Oh wow, surprise, surprise. Like, you know, people pick stage names just because they have a better ring to them. Yeah. And that's not abnormal at all. Ty Lopez is not Ty Lopez. Like all these people have real names and it's just easy. They roll off the tongue a little nicer. I like Richard Hart more than Richard Schuler. Not going to lie.
Exactly. And I think it's just going to become more and more common. You're going to see a lot more people doing these kind of things in the future and, you know, buying their .eth domain and that's going to be their name, right? It's like whatever they have there, that's going to be their name. Everyone knows them as. It's just part of life. And I think that the whole, like the NFT space and all that, it's going to become reality and people are going to be living through their stage name.
Do you think there's going to be a separation of people like those that enter the metaverse and become fully, and then there's going to be the people living the real life external video game world?
Yeah. I mean, I was talking about it on stream a couple weeks ago. Remember the Bruce Willis movie where I can't remember what it's called, where all the robots are running around town doing all the jobs. Everyone's just at home laying in their chair. Mm-hmm. I can't remember the name of the movie, but I feel like that's where we're going. And I'm not thinking we're going there in 10 years or 20 years, but 50 years from now, life's going to be like that. I really think you're going to have androids everywhere, real androids out in public.
Yeah. I mean, we're only a couple of years away from a drone dropping off your Amazon package. It happens. It's happening in certain cities already. Yeah. I think in China, they do it already. Yeah. So, what is Hilarski's real name? I don't think Hilarski's made up, bro.
I'm old school social media, and I was taught early on. I think it might have been Gary Vaynerchuk. Gary Vaynerchuk said, you know, pick one name and stick to that name forever. Yeah, Surrogate. That was the name of the movie.
Someone said Die Hard. I don't think it's Die Hard, bro.
Yeah, so Gary Vaynerchuk said, you know, pick your name and stick to it. It's worked for me.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that either. Vaynerchuk is one of those names where it's a long one. It's hard to spell, but he kept it. And at the end of the day, it's nobody really cares that much. Like, and the people that do care are just, it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird to say, oh, I don't trust this person because they use a stage name. It's like when they're clearly not trying to hide their real name, they just like the stage name better.
Or they're not trying to hide their persona either. If they're out in public with their face and everything, that's different than people that hide behind fake profiles who never show their face or living in their mama's basement. You know, those kind of people, those are the ones that are trolls, right? And I have a hard time respecting those people, especially if they get nasty.
A lot of trolls out there, man. A lot of trolls.
Yeah.
But
Bit boy.
Yeah, Bit boy. Ready Player One is also similar to that. Yeah, good call, Western. So we've talked about the past. We've kind of talked about the present. Let's extrapolate. Let's talk about where do you think this is all heading, and specifically for HEX and PulseChain.
Yeah, HEX did an amazing thing for so many of us, and now we have a new community of. Our community has grown so much, and I would say that the OGs are only a small percentage of the HEX community now. We're probably only maybe 20% of the community. The community's grown by 5x in the last year and a half or so, and that's really good to see. Like I know plenty of people here in Panama that are HEXkins who only have a small amount of HEX, but they sacrifice for PulseChain, they sacrifice for PulseX, or maybe just PulseX, and they're looking forward to the launch of PulseChain. I think right now our job is to treat them nicely, you know, and not to get too arrogant. I mean, HEX flexing is great. I think HEX flexing is great for the marketing, for the marketing of HEX, because there's a portion of people, not everybody, but there's a portion that loves seeing the results. Like, for example, me telling people, look, my Volkswagen Touareg, after shipping and taxes and all that stuff, is about $93,000, right? The total value of the truck, having it shipped to Panama. But that was a $400 HEX stake that paid for that $93,000. Yeah. When I tell people that, they're like, oh shit. Now that's the kind of good marketing. There's going to be a small percentage of people like, oh, Randy, you're just bragging. I'm bragging for the sake of the HEX community, because this is what can be done in crypto if you listen and you hold and you stake and you earn those rewards. And now we have something else. We have Hedron on top of that. So now you stake your HEX, you also earn Hedron. So what's the true APY now? The true APY is just disgusting. I could literally pull out a couple grand a month just in Hedron if I wanted to, and just live off the Hedron and just let my HEX stakes run, and just take my Hedron or my HEX, restake it out another 15 years, and increase my T shares instead of losing T shares.
True. Very, very true, man. It's the opportunities just keep coming to HEX, and PulseChain is going to be the ecosystem that fosters even more adoption, even more onboarding, the fiat on-ramps, the options, the stuff other people are working on. It's super inspiring. I don't see, in my head, we've already won, in my head. Wake Dog says you got ripped off for that Touareg, but I think you're talking about shipping to Panama too. We can't forget about that.
No, it's an R line, bro.
Oh.
It's an R line. It's the top of the line.
Damn.
I got everything on that bitch. It's got metal under panels for off-roading. It's got air suspension. I'm a Volkswagen master salesman, bitch.
Volkswagen maximalist over here.
Yeah. I've owned 9 Volkswagens in my life. This is the only thing I didn't get was the black edition. The black edition was about 105 grand total. And my wife's like, let's not to be too flashy. She didn't want those 22-inch black wheels. And she goes, I don't want to look like a drug dealer. I'm like, okay, babe, let's not roll around with a drug dealer.
Fair point.
This is Panama.
Yeah, it is Panama. And I want to ask you, I know Richard had a not so great experience in Panama, but it seems like you're doing okay. Do you have anything to say about that?
Yeah. I talk about this often because people always ask me about Richard's experience. Richard came here with money, right? He came here and he had to rely on other people to help him. Now, Richard his issue was that the big mistake he made was the worst one, was picking a lawyer that was going to screw him over. So he got unlucky from the get-go. He picked a bad lawyer. And me, on the other hand, I came here broke. I had $3,000 in my pocket. I had to work a job for the first year and a half I was in Panama. And I got to build relationships, got to know who were the good guys, who were the bad guys, and just build a community around myself. And those people that I met 11 years ago are still the friends that I have today. And we're growing up together. And now all of them are in HEX. they're all Hexicans. Or I got them in Aave when Aave was doing the ICO. That's all I've done, man, is build a community around myself. Richard didn't get a chance to do that. He picked the wrong guy from the beginning.
Well said. And I think that's a good way to put it. It's all about who you know, and you got to be careful out there, guys. If you're a crypto millionaire or even more higher than that, you're a target to some people, especially in these less well-off areas. So,
and I think he came here before he was crypto rich. He came here with just his wealth from his early days and his other businesses.
Yeah, and he also came when he was in his early 20s, I think. So,
yeah,
people make dumb decisions when they're in their early 20s sometimes too.
Exactly. So Big V says he used to live in Bocas del Toro. Amazing. Bocas is an island up on the Caribbean side, just on the Costa Rican border. Gorgeous up there if you want to go swim with the dolphins, that type of thing.
Nice.
It's really cool.
Nice. Yeah, I'm stacking hearts, not Satoshis. I do think it's funny that the smallest unit of HEX or PulseChain is called a heart, and it's called a beat, I believe. And then the Gwei is measured in. No. Sorry. The smallest unit of a HEX is called a heart. But the smallest unit of a PulseChain is called a beat. Okay. Which is kind of cool. Better than Gwei.
Yeah, exactly. What would you say?
Gwei? Sounds like a different language. Finbear, did you miss the entire thing? Yeah, you missed it, bro. Sorry.
Welcome, Finbear.
Yeah, good to have you.
He's a motivating dude, man. He just told me the other night, because of the rising gas prices, he had to go out and cut up a whole bunch of cord of wood and chop it up, get ready for the winter to use his own stove to heat the house.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's out there. Um, Ryan Torres, $400 hex stake, bought a 90K truck. Yeah, I mean, hey, that if that's not a good testimonial for you, I don't know what is.
Yeah, and there's other people that got in. I had my 1500X or something like that, but there's people that had way more than that.
Yeah, I've got a little less. I'm up a little less than 1,000X overall, just because of the way a dollar cost averaged.
Yeah, me too.
Still very, very happy.
Yeah, we can't complain.
No, flashy and Panda was dangerous. Yeah. What's your thoughts on the Zen project? Do you want to just talk for a minute on? Do you know anything about Zen?
Yeah, I know about it. People are asking me, Randy, what are you going to do? I'll probably claim for a couple wallets, but I'll just buy the tokens. I'll just buy them on Uniswap. I'll probably buy $1,000 worth and just sit on them. But the only thing is,
they might not be liquid very, very quickly though.
Yeah. Okay. Then that stinks. Then you might not be able to get them. So, but I'm not going to go open up 100 wallets like some people are saying. Time is valuable, and spend your time in the right places, especially something that's so.
Dude, I'm in the same boat as you. Some people are like, "Yo, Coffee, how many wallets are you opening? Like 50 or 100?" I'm like, maybe 10, like maybe. And even that, I'm just like, I hate clicking all this crap. Like,
this isn't the Uniswap airdrop, guys.
Yeah, like I've got a life. I like my free time. I will probably claim, just see what happens, but it's a very interesting experiment from a very smart person. It'll be probably a good lesson in what works and what doesn't work in terms of distributing tokens. And
the difference is that Jack Levin is a former Google employee, number 21.
Yeah.
So he's got a great marketing face behind him.
Yeah.
And that's going to help. And who knows what other kind of things he's got coming for Zen in the future because of his Google relationships. And that will be the thing I will be betting on, not on the coin, because there's tons of coins, and especially something that's, to me, doesn't have much utility.
Yeah, I mean, there's staking thrown on there, but the staking is not. It's okay. I don't think the staking rewards are going to be anywhere near the claiming rewards. It might be illiquid for a while because a lot of people are going to try to maximize their mint window, their claim to mint window. So yeah,
I would minimize your mint window if you want to make money on it.
Really? Well, you get so much more. You get so much more for waiting 100 days to claim.
Yeah, but that little graph you get when something launches, it tends to go really high and then it dips. Well, the short termers, they might be able to buy back 10x more when it does take a dip. I'm just speculating. Like, look, Hedron was a perfect example. HEX was a perfect example. We had the launch of HEX on the AA, and it went up really high the first day or two, and then dipped way low. Same thing with Hedron.
Yep. And this all relies on people actually putting their own liquidity into it, because I don't know. I mean, Jack has just as much influence as anybody else in this game. Like, he doesn't have any higher amount of liquidity, so you can't rely on someone like that to put up liquidity.
That's actually a great thing. That's why it might take a while for this thing to get going.
Yeah. So I definitely got my eye on it. But hey, I'm
just think about it. Next bull cycle, it could be a thing.
Yeah.
The peak of the next bull cycle then could be flying.
It could be. And so I definitely just want to do my free claims and not go crazy with it, but have a little piece of the pie.
Look, I'm more excited for Hedron, Mycosa, and Maximus DAO, and all this amazing derivatives that we have. It's so cool. And Poly just launched so you can stake your Hedron, or not stake, but participate in the buying of the expired HSI stakes. I mean,
everything that's happening around the HEX ecosystem. And I mean, you can even look at Zen like an onboarding tool when PulseChain does launch, because you could just tell people, hey, if you guys want some free tokens, there's this cool thing that always lets you get some tokens for free. But they're called Zen, and who knows how much they'll be worth. Yeah, HEX, PulseChain, and the whole circular referencing system, it's going to melt phases, guys.
It can't be beat. I mean, imagine if Hedron does a 10x from now. If I can take out a couple grand a month in Hedron at the current moment, and we do a 10x, now you're talking about I don't know, a Wall Street analyst salary every year just from Hedron.
Yeah.
250K a year, and just in Hedron. What are you going to do with your HEX stakes then? You're going to take them out and you're going to restake them out for the full 55 so that you can get more Hedron.
Takes sell pressure off of HEX, and it incentivizes more HEX staking, longer average stake length, which you could debate is good or bad. But just more games to play, more different routes for the money to go. So rather than having to just dump your HEX tokens, you've now got just so many different ecosystems to play around in. And it's good for the technical people that want these additional games. But it's also good for people that might want to stake HEX, but want additional functionality of being able to trade your stakes. Like that's something that
Mhm.
I don't really care for, but someone else might want that. Hey,
Yeah,
Maddie, good to
if
see you.
you're yeah, hey Matty, if you're one of those people that's worried about the price of Ethereum proof of stake in the future, and it looks like the track that they're going on, and they're going to cause the price to go up a substantial amount, and you don't have the Ethereum in your wallet, then the HSI stakes are great. That's just a great feature. But the one problem I see with them is that if you're like me and you have weak hands, then you don't want to do the HSI stakes because then you're tempted to sell them.
Yeah.
I remember when ICOSA launched, I sold every single HSI stake I had for ICOSA. I was like,
Yep.
"Bit, let's do it. Sell, 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 you
Yeah.
know, and
Yeah.
stake my ICOSA.
What are you going to do for Poly? Are you going to put all your liquid Hedron into Poly?
No, I'll put some.
Yeah.
Especially the ones I have on other chains, ETH Proof of Work and Ethereum Fair. I'll put those into Poly for sure.
Oh,
that's a long play bet.
Okay. You're going to continue to use the Maximus contracts on ETHW?
Yeah.
Wow.
If they're working, I'm going to use them.
Cool. Nice, man.
Yeah, I think that if Dipcatcher's watching, I just make sure that's available over there so we can use it. I'm telling people who are so worried about, I know this is a segue, but everyone who's worried about Ethereum Fair and ETH Proof of Work, well, we also have PulseChain launching. So now we're going to have 4 chains of HEX, and all the stuff that we have right now in HEX are going to be available in 4 different places. And to worry about the price, you're taking some money away from EHEX and you're moving it over to ETH Proof of Work or Ethereum Fair. Look, guys, it doesn't really matter. If you dilute one a little bit, when you add it all up, it's still going to be the same amount of money. I'm not worried about that.
Yeah, I mean, but this is the thing though. I think people going forward, you want your copies on PulseChain, so you don't want people to get too wrapped up in ETHW and then boom, PulseChain launches.
I have, just let's put it out there. I have not purchased anything with new money. I haven't taken any money off of Ethereum to move it over to Ethereum Fair or ETH Proof of Work in order to buy those right now, because those are freemium for me. I had ERC20s that got copied on those networks that I sold in order to purchase my Hedron and my HEX on those chains, because I do want all of my copies to be on PulseChain. Please do not degen, guys.
I'm in the same boat as you. I'm not buying any HEX on the ETHW. It's great that it's out there. It's a good test run. It's a good experiment to see how people react. But the liquidity is still low. The bridges aren't necessarily safe, and time will tell. Time will tell. I'm just not going to rush in to buy any because I also do have so many stakes that are just copied there, and I'm very happy with that. Right?
Exactly.
Chuck $100 in, chuck $1,000 in if you want to snatch up a bunch of it or whatever, but just don't be mad if it doesn't work out, because that's totally up to you, right? I'm not going to take a strong position, I think, one way or another. It's another thing I'm just going to watch.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Watch it and enjoy the show.
Yeah.
Right now it is dipping. ETH Proof of Work HEX is dipping right now.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes. I'm not really worried. Whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
Or just keep restaking the stuff. Just keep restaking it out another 15 years.
Yep. Coffee. What's up, Maddie? What's up, Coffee? Hey, everybody in chat. Let's see. What are we talking about in chat now? You might be in for a surprise. Oh, really? Finbear, tell me more. Wake Dog says, you wouldn't need your weekends if you didn't live 100% off crypto. You could stake it. I don't understand.
Yeah, Wake Dog doesn't like me. We've got he apparently, he's hiding behind a persona in his basement, but he's got a thing against me. That's good, man. I love when he shows up. Yeah, wow. I live off. Yo, bro, I'm retired. Been retired for a long time, and I could do what I want with my money. Don't you worry. You worry about your hands and what you're doing in your life.
Let's not count other people's money, bros. Let's be adults, guys. We're adults. Whether or not you live in your mom's basement, you're still an adult. Is mobile broadband internet safe to use for crypto for rural people without telephone landline?
I've done it.
Yeah, I mean, probably.
Mobile broadband internet. Yes, Chris, it's fine. I've used my computer, my phone with a signal to my computer in the past to handle things. I've done that. I mean, as long as your phone's not corrupted, you're not looking at porn and shit on your phone, you should be fine.
Not looking at porn on your phone.
90%
of the population.
but listen that's John McAfee made it clear. John McAfee, before he died, he says, do not look at this stuff on your phone. You're going to get, you're going to download things and you're going to get your stuff exposed.
Yeah. The real risks are just always the same risks of the internet anywhere. Don't download malware and don't upload your private keys to like a cloud service or give them away to a hacker. I mean, it's just regular internet hygiene, basically.
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm staked way longer than the next all-time high, so I do not need to worry about the next one. Oh, well, I'm laddered, so hopefully I'll have something expiring during the next all-time high, and then long
You
after.
will. You will. You will.
Of course I will.
know,
I mean, I literally there's no way I can't. I've got ladders every 6 months at minimum from now until 15 years. So
I didn't. I was not one of those guys that did that. My average now is 11 years, so I'm way far out.
oh
But
wow.
that's why I get so much hedron.
Oh wow. Okay.
But it worked out good. But last year, that stake that I had come out, that was I think it was a 2019 stake, and it came out in September, and that's why I sold. It was 150K at about 44 cents. So
Yeah.
that was a good day.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Yeah, I'm happy with Hedron as well. McAfee trained his devs on porn site hacks. Yep, he did. Average 12 years. Nice flex, FinBear.
Yeah, it's a little bit more than me. I think I'm 11.4 right now.
I forgot what mine is. It's somewhere around literally like 7 or 8. Like
I got one coming out in a couple weeks, and once that's gone, I think mine's going to go up over 12 too.
Nice. Yeah, don't hold private keys on your phone for large amounts, or even for any amounts, really.
Be careful.
Be careful out there, because the small amount that you think is small can one day become really large, and then you forget about it.
The thing I was talking about using your phone is if you have a computer and you're using your phone as your internet. Now that I think is fine because you're just using the signal. Now using crypto on your phone, that's a hot wallet, man. You're really taking a chance.
Yeah. Touch the thumb button. Yes, gently touch the thumb button. The picture of a thumb, that's my favorite finger. So make sure you tap that little guy right there. Thanks, Benny. So we've got 51 minutes down, and I want to I'll open it up to the chat like always at the end here. If you got any questions for the legend Randy over here, make sure you ask him now or forever hold your peace. Spanking the monkey mobility. Never thought about mobile porn. Come on. You're saying you're a big screen guy? He only likes it on 4K HD.
He likes the base.
He's got the curved screen, so you
can. That's nuts.
Oh man, smartphones are not secure. Well, I mean, Randy, what do you think is more secure, an iPhone or an Android?
Well, I use Android.
Really?
My wife uses an iPhone, but I just feel like it's antique technology. When I use her phone, I'm like, what is this? I'm going back to Android.
Wow.
Yeah, okay. It's just frustrating when I use her phone. I'm like, I can't use this. But as far as computers, we use Macs for everything.
Yeah. I mean, I always use Windows. I use both for computers. For PCs, I've got a Mac and a Windows. But yeah, I like iPhones, and my reasoning behind that is because the company itself, Apple, they seem to have a little more power in terms of protecting your data. So if like the FBI has tried to raid iPhones before, and they've had a harder time than when they try to hack into and root Android phones.
No, I believe that. I totally believe that.
Not that I have anything to hide, but
as
privacy is a human right.
If you guys want a good computer, I mean, I've got this. This is a Mac with the M2 chip, the new M2 chip. I think I only paid like $1,400 for this computer, and it's great. I mean, it's fast. I never have any problems with this camera. This is not an external camera. This is part of the computer, and I think it works fine.
Yeah. Despite the little pixelation right now, I think that's just because.
Oh, we got pixelation again. Yeah, you know what? My son might be watching TV. He might be using some of the bandwidth.
Taking up some bandwidth. Yeah. Randy, are you minting Zen? Yeah, we both talked about this already. We're both minting Zen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is Hedron? Here's a question. Crypto, is Hedron always in danger of being dumped by those who earn it? Can it pump like HEX? Well, dude, this is kind of the same exact question that questions like
always this question.
Questions like this are funny because it exists in every single coin. Can't the people that bought it really dump later? Like, yes, of course. Or can't the people that get the early adoption bonus dump later? Yeah, of course. The whole thing relies on new economic energy outpacing the sell pressure. That's every single coin. And if you don't believe that can happen, I mean, if you want a little bit of hopium, just know that giant dip in the first 3 months of Hedron, a lot of that was early whales that didn't believe in Hedron, taking their profit off the table and distributing their Hedron to a wider group of people that were buying the dip. So,
and they announced it. They announced that they were selling their Hedron. So hey,
a lot of people did. I'm lucky I held on to mine. I was on the fence about it because I just didn't see. I had no idea about Icosa until a couple months afterwards, and then I was like, oh, okay, this makes more sense now.
Yeah, I was one of those people. I sold my initial batch, but then I bought like 10 billion and watched it go up, and I sold. I think it was on a triple or something like that.
Yeah.
But then it kept going, and I started when it got to about 5 zeros and a 5. I was like, guys, there is no utility for Hedron right now. Why are you buying this? This is pure speculation. And like, oh, I remember Brennan was attacking me on Twitter, like, Randy, this is the best thing since sliced bread. Why are you fudding? I'm like, I'm not fudding. I'm trying to protect people.
Yeah.
You're going to get wrecked.
No, people said the same thing to me too, because I changed my mind when I learned new information, but like it blows my mind that all these people out here that just pretend to absolutely know things as a certainty without having the adequate information, right? Like if something is unprecedented, people were coming at me for ETH saying I was crying that I was fudding their bags. Wah. It's like, just because I said, I was like, basically, I don't think ETH at first, when I first learned about it, I'm like, I don't think this is going to really last that long, guys. I learned about it more. I said, okay, it's going to be around a while. I don't know if it's going to reach price parity or not, but either way, I'm watching and I'm optimistic. And then people are still like, oh, well, if coffee, why is he fudding my bags? It's like, just because I'm not buying it, bro. Like, I'm not going to, everything that you like, I'm not just going to be like, yeah, let's go to the moon, boys. Like, I'm not just going to be a little cheerleader for you. Like, get over it. If you really like it, you get off your ass and you promote it on your YouTube channel.
Exactly. You start using your own mouth, get out there and start talking to people and telling people what's going on. It's like PLSD. I got all HEX info just went off on me because of PLSD. I don't care, man.
Yeah.
I'm not buying PLSD. I'm not buying Pulse Bitcoin. I'm
a lot of armchair quarterbacking in this world. A lot of pointing fingers saying you should do this, you should do that. We don't fucking work for you, number one.
Number two, another one that was hiding behind a fake profile.
Yeah.
Fake profiles, man, I got no respect for you.
Well, and also number two is like, if you want something to happen, you are the network in crypto. You are the network. You have more power than you think. Get out there and do it.
Even if you're just a meme warrior, like Too Spooky. Too Spooky is amazing at being a meme warrior. I haven't seen him lately, but for a while though, man, he's the one that fudded the hell out of PLSD.
Really? Yeah.
He was just fudding it.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Look, I'm not going to complain about free money, but I'm not going to also say that PLSD is the future of finance.
No, it's a meme coin.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I sold most of mine and I'm happy with that. And if it goes higher, oh, well, I got my free money.
Exactly.
Lights Out wants to know best non-financial advice for the new community. So if you're new here, guys, welcome. You're in the right place. All joking around aside, all disagreements aside, we're all here because we agree that this ecosystem, you might have your own little favorite side projects or pet projects. We believe this ecosystem is going to be the future of finance. We think we're in the right place at the right time. What do you have to say for the people that are going to experience crypto for the first time?
Make sure you, I'm going to speak like I'm talking from Nomad Capitalist. If you guys watch Nomad Capitalist, make sure, if you haven't watched that, make sure you do, but go where you're treated best. I don't believe in financing wars or anything like that. So I believe in moving to a place where your jurisdiction is you're protected, and
move to the country where you're treated best, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I believe in having extra residencies. I believe in having extra passports. I'll have my Panama passport in the next year. I've been eligible for 6 years, I've been too lazy to get it done. But my lawyer contacted me and said, Randy, let's get this done, please. So I'm in the process. Just to make sure you start looking at those kind of things, because a lot of you are going to be very wealthy. Right now, you don't see it, okay? But if you're sticking around and you're listening to people like Crypto Coffee, you're going to be wealthy in the next 5 to 6 years. Crypto's not going anywhere. Crypto's the new financial world. All your stocks, everything, NFTs, real estate will be on NFTs. Everything's going to come over. Gold, you're going to have NFTs that are gold back. I know that Lode's working on that right now. One of my companies that I work with. So everything's going to NFTs. Get ready, it's coming.
Yeah, gold-backed cryptocurrency. I've heard that one before. But hey, maybe they're going to do it right.
Gold-backed NFTs.
Okay.
Yeah, which was a little bit different, right?
Yeah, I suppose it's just like a title, a certificate of gold ownership or whatever.
Yep. Same thing with real estate, titles, all kinds of things are going to be coming to NFTs. And then you're going to have all your crypto stuff, which is going to be your stocks and your futures, your options. Everything's going to be crypto related.
Yeah, you just need a couple of mainstream institutions or disruptive institutions to bridge them into mainstream consciousness and legitimize them in the eyes of people. So I think there's an end game for NFTs too. I just don't think it's pictures of monkeys smoking blunts.
True. True. And I think that you know what, we're going to look back. Hey, Paul, we're going to look back on this, and we're going to be the people that made this happen. It's going to be really weird when people looking back in history 100 years from now. There's a possibility that your name and my name come up in the history books. There's a possibility. Right now, we don't think it is, but
That's
do you
so
think
weird.
a lot of these people? Yeah, don't you think about some of these people that are in that we talk about in history now? Do you think they thought that their names would be in the history books? No, they had no idea. But something that they did, like say what Richard's doing with PulseChain. What if PulseChain becomes mainstream and everyone uses it? Well, Richard's going to go down in history. And we were the people, we were the guys who are out there cheering it and saying, hey, let's do this.
Yeah, we've all got a voice and we all got to work together. Stay focused on eyes on the prize, don't get too distracted. This guy, Crypto Bigfoot's got some pretty good advice that goes along with what I just said. If you're new, just don't ape into every coin that gets pitched to you, because you're going to get pitched 10 coins a day, especially if you're on Twitter. You got to become an information filtration device. There's a lot of signal out there and there's a lot of noise. You got to be able to find the signal in the noise. And that's really hard, because there's maybe 5 or 10 projects in the next bull market that are really going to make the multimillionaires and the generational wealth. And there's hundreds of projects there's maybe 100 that are going to do pretty good, but then they're going to fall back down again. And people might do okay, but not life-changing. And then there's going to be 90% of them that get hacked or rug pulled intentionally or unintentionally. And people are going to be very upset. So the whole diversification thing, don't diversify too much, guys. Do your research and pick your couple of projects that you like, 4 or 5, maybe 10. I'm involved in about 10, and I think that's too much. I think I'm overextended right now. But that's just me. If you want to take a shotgun approach, you can just do the math, right? If you put $100 into 100 coins and 2 of them do 1,000x, you can do that math versus, let's say you put $1,000 into 10 coins and then 2 of those 1,000x, right? Like, it's narrow the bandwidth of where you're focusing on by increasing the information that you have available to you. The knowledge is literally power. And so as your knowledge widens, your scope of what's available as a good investment tightens up. So it doesn't seem like something can seem like a really good idea because you don't have the information. And then as you learn more information, and you start to uncover that it's objectively not such a good idea, and vice versa. Something can seem like a really bad idea at first, but then because information is asymmetric and the more you learn about it, you actually uncover that, oh, this is actually a lot better of an idea objectively than I thought. So you can move your needle closer to the truth by acquiring as much knowledge as you can and forming your own opinion. I always stress, don't just listen to me, right? I'm a guy on YouTube. Make your own opinion and think for yourself.
And damn straight. And I want to talk about finding the gems too. That because people, they always come, they're always asking me, Randy, what's the next gem? And I used to write the articles, and I stopped doing that. I don't write the articles anymore. I just make my YouTube videos and go on Odyssey and stuff like that. But I want to use a story that to show an example of this. I was on the Epic Cash launch team. Epic Cash was a Mimblewimble coin, 21 million coins. Is trying to follow the thing that Bitcoin's doing. They're still around. They're still fine. And I was on the launch team, and then September came and the coin launched. It was a proof of work, very similar to Monero and things like that. And we did really well the first couple of days, and it started off about 80 cents. But then the founder had a mental breakdown, and he got hospitalized, and he got put in the hospital for 3 months. So it was just me and the devs that carried the project for about 3.5 months or so. But during that time, the price of the coin dropped all the way down to a penny. Now, everyone was flooding us. They're like, oh, Max Freeman's gone. He's sick. Oh, this project's never going to last. This guy's he's not paying the bills because he owed people a lot of money. He owed, a lot of guys who were out there flooding on Reddit were like, oh, he owes me 10 grand. He owes me 20 grand. And I'm thinking to myself, there's nothing wrong with the coin. The coin's amazing. What they were doing was amazing. I said, you know what? I'm going to start loading up on this. It got all the way down to about 0.8 of a penny because the miners were just ditching. They're selling all their coins that they were getting. So here am I loading up. Well, he comes back and the price starts creeping back up. But by mid-January or so, the price got back up to about 50 cents.
Wow.
And I had purchased most of mine at about a penny and a penny and a half. So what I did is I then sold my profits in Epic Cash. and I put them into HEX because this started in September 2019, and HEX launched in September, and then HEX launched in December, and then I put all of my profits from Epic Cash into HEX, and it worked out fabulous because what was and right around the end of January, beginning of February, wherever the HEX price was, it was pretty good, and that would the story goes there. So, you got to find the quality projects. If there's people around you and they're flooding your bags and there's blood in the streets, and something's still quality, you buy it. And you stack up when everyone is complaining. And that's what happened recently with HEX. And that's what happened recently with Hedron. Yeah. People were complaining, and I was like, okay, I'm buying now. I'm buying.
It has to do with the amount with what compared to what the rest of the world knows. Yeah. If the world agreed that HEX was a great investment, it would be actually a bad investment. It'd be far too late. And you know what? Even when HEX does stabilize in 10, 20 years, whenever that happens, you're still going to be able to make yield on it. So it will always have some level of demand for people that want to earn yield trustlessly and beat out inflation, right? Because that's the main problem that HEX is solving. Just try to arm yourself, guys.
Yeah, please educate, and not just from YouTubers. Yeah. Please.
Yeah, go read the website, right? Literally read the websites, read the white papers, try to understand them as much as you can.
And research the founders. See if they have a public face.
That's another thing. At the end of the day, as much as we say it's decentralized and trustless, we do need to place our faith in people that are building this, right? We're placing our faith in Richard Hart that he's going to get PulseChain done. So people that are fighting, oh, what if PulseChain isn't getting done? Well, I can literally see V2B has been out working flawlessly for more than 6 months now. Clearly, there's been a lot of work done. I know Richard's character. I know some of the people that work for him. They're not, I don't know them well or personally, but I know that they're not giving up. And I know that Richard's not the type of person to give up. So yeah, we are placing faith in other people to finish the development part of it, but we're also putting our reputations on the line. And this is a bet that we're all taking. If PulseChain, I'm not even entertaining the idea that PulseChain doesn't launch personally.
Yeah, me either. Yeah. There's nothing in me that thinks that's going to happen. There's been other times and other projects where I felt that, like, oh shit, is this gonna work out?
Yeah.
And I felt that with Decent.bet. I was on the Decent.bet launch team. This is going back to 2017. It was kind of like PulsePot. I don't want to hurt PulsePot's name, but I don't support gambling projects anymore. No more. I stay away from that stuff. And their developer was a friend of mine who I got hired on the team. One of the founders of Napster, one of the guys behind Napster, Adrian Scott. He lives here in Panama, and I got him hired and his team to build the contracts on Solidity for Decent.bet. And 6 months later, they fired Adrian's team and went a different direction. They wanted to go towards gaming, right, instead of gambling. And I just got that feeling in my stomach. Oh shit, there's something. This is not good. I'm going to sell my coins. So I sold. Had a feeling, and now the founder who we raised 12 million for, he sold all of his ETH. That at the time ETH was about $150. He sold all of the ETH over 1,000, right? And we had raised 12 million. So you do that times 10, it's about $120 million. He disappeared. Now he's living his best life in Thailand. And if you try to talk to him or try to contact him about Decent.bet, ghosted. So I felt I got that feeling in my stomach. I'm out. So
well, times like that, it's a little bit easier to make that judgment call, right?
Yeah. It was.
I agree with
so shady.
Yeah. Cypherlock said it well. Nothing is 100% trustless. It's all on the spectrum. And unless you're smart enough to actually check the resources of everything, unless you literally verify the code line by line, like you're always trusting somebody or someone else's point of view. I guess last question before we hop off, both CryptoCopy and Randy, in your opinion, what is a good stake amount? 1 T-share, 2 T-shares or more for building a ladder? I like at least 1 per stake. How much is a T-share today? Let's go check.
24 or something.
Let's see. Stake T-share price in USD is currently, what is it today? It's a bit under $1,000.
That's not bad. That's amazing.
Not bad. I like the idea of staking. If you can make multiple stakes that are about $1,000, that's great.
A year ago this time, they were 10 grand.
Yeah. Seriously. So try to save money, dollar cost average. You've got a few months. So, you know, if you could save $1,000 a month, do that for the next 6 months. That's not a bad idea.
Right now is the time to DCA. Like I said on Sunday night's show, I live stream every night at 10 p.m. Sunday through Thursday. If you guys want to join me, and we discuss this kind of stuff. And I did announce that okay, my DCA has begun. I might pull money back out right before the elections because I do think we're going to get some rough time right after the elections. But you know that'll go away too. By the beginning of December, I think everything's going to start normalizing unless we go to war.
Interesting. I guess that's the question I'll leave us on with. When do you think the bull market's coming back, and when do you think PulseChain is going to launch?
One year before the halving is the guaranteed time when bull market is coming back, right? But we might start a little bit early. And how do we start a little bit earlier? Launch PulseChain. That's it. If we launch PulseChain, our bull market is going to start long before the rest of the bull market. Yeah,
you know, we were just talking before the stream about how bullish we are, how we can kind of sense it almost. It's nothing factual, right? But purely on an intuitive basis, it feels like PulseChain is right around the corner, and that's because Richard is silent. Like people don't realize how good that actually is. I mean,
I get chills. That is to me, that's the most positive thing we could see. When Richard went silent, that means he's working, in my opinion.
Yep. He's not flexing. He's not doing a world tour. The documentary's done. His developers are back from vacation too. I haven't heard a lot from Richard, and we're about to hear something from him on Saturday. So tune in to Hexologist channel.
He's going on someone else's show. He's going on.
Ivan on Tech.
Ivan on Tech too. So if Richard's going on Ivan on Tech, to me, that's a pretty good sign that we're getting close.
Once he starts making the rounds, I remember HEX, man. I remember he was on everyone's channel talking about HEX, and it really picked up speed right before the launch. So we'll see. We'll see after Hexo and Ivan on Tech. The amount of streams that he does, it means that basically he's trying to reach maximum amount of people to drive hype before the actual event. So
he's a master marketer. Randy, why do you believe in Richard so much? Because he's a marketer like myself and like Crypto Coffee. We understand this stuff. And he's just, the dude's on steroids when it comes to marketing.
I learned a lot from him, actually, and yourself. But nice. Yeah, we understand the game. We understand how internet marketing works.
Yes, sir.
All right, boys, stake that like button. That's right, Lights Out. Stake that like button.
Thank you, Lights Out, for being so supportive. He's always so supportive with everybody in the community.
He's the man.
Amazing.
He's the fucking man. Big boy pants coming up. That's right. Put on your big boy pants. Dollar cost average. Go watch Richard Hart later, and see you on the next one. Bye, guys.